Hello, ladies and gentlemen, Teo here, back with some more Ever17. We are in the whale room with Coco, presumably about to get all sorts of exciting answers. So, let's get into that, I'm excited. Hey, Mr. Whale! Mr. Whale? What time is it? A whale of a time. Okay, never mind. This is dumb. I hate everything. You better not have asked me to come all this way just to tell me that stupid joke. And it's only 8 AM in the morning. No. I just wanted to go on a date with you and... Date? Yeah. Well, Takepyon, you like me, right? So that means we're going out. Man, if only life were that simple. When a boyfriend and a girlfriend tell each other their true feelings, everyone knows it's best to be under a starlit sky. That's why I brought you here, to the whale. Actually, I'm just teasing you. Ah, see, that's how it is in real life. There we go, we have our realism back. Duh. You're already married, right, Takepyon? Huh? Don't be shy. I know everything there is to know about you. And not only just you, I know everything there is to know about everything. Everything... Well, yeah. Of course. I'm a psychic. For as long as I can remember, I've been able to talk with people from different worlds. That's an odd superpower, but somewhat apropos to... I don't know about apropos, that's perhaps not the word I'm looking for. But it, makes sense, I guess? Different worlds meaning the other side? No, not like that. Just another world that isn't this one. Ah. If I borrow the sight from the people in the other world, I can see everything from the past and future. Really? Wow. Like, the people in the second dimension, they can't really see the whole world, right? You can't see those huge line drawings that Nazca Peru from the ground, right? Let's say you have a really cool drawing of a robot on your computer screen. One of the dots on the screen, they can't see the whole drawing. Yeah? So what can they do to see the whole picture? Well, for the pictures in Nazca, all you have to do is go up in the air and look down. And for the pictures on the display, if you can get a little bit away from the screen, into the third dimension, you can see it, right? We're in the third dimension, right? Only the third dimension keeps moving on forward in time. So in order to see it moving, you can't just stay in the third dimension. You have to look down at everything from the fourth dimension. Come to think of it, didn't Sora mention something like this? But I'm human, and I can't get out of the flow of time. So I just borrow the viewpoint of the people from the fourth dimension. So what you're trying to say is the people from the other side are really people from the fourth dimension? Yep. That's the dumbest thing I've ever... Well, I can. I really can. I really, really can. Great, huh? It's the third eye. Yeah, you can call it that too. So, you can tell everything about my past then? Well, I don't really think I can help you, Hokuton. Huh? Because you aren't really Hokuton, right? I don't know anymore? So you aren't borrowing anyone's perception, I think. In your case, Hokuton, I'm pretty sure you're just perception itself, right? What do you mean? I would like to echo the sentiment. Blickwinkle. What? I'm pretty sure Blickwinkle knows everything. I'm sure they do. Blickwinkle? Just then. Boom! A massive boom rocked our eardrums. Oh, right. That was what happened in the whale room. The room collapsed. We all reflexively looked up. The ceiling of our world, the cosmos, had shattered. Immediately, a large amount of seawater rained down on us like an avalanche. Shards from the shattered wall cracked off and shot into the floor like bullets. I looked back, but Coco was gone. Coco! Nobody was there to respond. All the sound was drowning out from the water rushing in, so that we could hardly even hear our own voices. Droplets of water were falling from above. White mist was rising from below. The water level was rising quickly. An incoming jet of water from the ceiling struck the whale, which was suspended in the center of the room. It bent backward hard, fell, and lay on the floor. Man! That's it. That's the last straw. The writers can do whatever else they want, but they can't kill off the whale. The whale was my favorite character. Its big mouth flapped open. Its pupils were empty. The whale was dead. I turned around, cutting through the water, and fled from the room. The door to the whale room closed with a gurgling sound. Hey, are you okay? I spun around, drawn by Sarah's voice. She was standing there, shoulders heaving. I ran here as soon as the alarm sounded, but... Looking over Sarah's shoulder, I could see the people running towards us from the corridor. I returned my gaze to the door. It didn't appear to be leaking. The whale room was flooded, but it looked as though the other rooms were safe. For now. Hey. Blood. You're bleeding. Sarah pointed to my left hand. I looked at my palm. When did I get this cut? Didn't a shard hit me when it fell and I just didn't... Or did a shard hit me when it fell and I just didn't notice? Or did I snag it on something when I was trying to get out the door? At any rate, bright red blood was dripping from the side of my hand. You okay? Sarah took a white handkerchief from her pocket and, taking my injured hand in hers, bound the wound. Does it hurt? I shook my head. The truth was, I didn't feel anything. More important than the scratch on my hand. Blick Winkle. Eh? Sarah tilted her head questioningly. More than the injury, more than the flooding, more than anything, Coco's words were running through my head. Blick Winkle. Blick Winkle. Blick Winkle? Who are you? Who am I? Again, I could hear that voice again. Was it my voice, or someone else's? I kept staring at the palm of my left hand. A red stain spread slowly across the white fabric. Who are you? Who am I? Because you aren't really hooked on, right? I'm pretty sure Blick Winkle knows everything. Blick Winkle. Blick Winkle. Blood. The wet crimson stain spread, and blood fell in thick droplets, landing in the puddles at my feet. It spread out in the water like smoke, to eventually dissolve into the seawater. Just then, my vision grew red. I could see it. I could see everything. Everything in the year 2017. A continuous flow of fragmentary images. Pieces of this world flowed by without context. I was simply an onlooker of everything in this world. Yes, I couldn't take part, I could only watch. I was nothing more than a perception. Coco groaned and held her hand pressed against her mouth. Fresh crimson blood dribbled through the cracks of her fingers. A red stain spread on the floor of the control room. This is bad. These symptoms are... Symptoms? Who cares about symptoms? Don't you realize if we leave her like this, Coco's going to... I mean, symptoms are a little important, right? Like, if you figure out what is going on with her, you are in a better position to treat what's going on with her. Coco, hang in there. Takeshi, what are we gonna do? What can we do? Wait, don't panic. Everyone just calm down. I was only a perspective, but had no real sense of feeling. The link between my sight and consciousness had been broken, and all I could do was continually gaze at the scene unfolding before me. I felt neither sadness nor anger, neither impatience nor despair. I was looking at the reality in front of me as one might stare at a meaningless jumble of numbers. Tiefblau 2017 Rev17. The LMRI was scanning Coco's condition. The Tiefblau virus. Coco, hold on! No, don't you die on me! Coco's body lay on the examination table. Kaburaki held her thin arm intensely. Open your eyes, Coco! Come on, wake up! Kaburaki grabbed a hold of Coco's shoulders and was shaking her violently. Hey, cut it out! Stop it, kid! Takeshi pulled him back from Coco. Huh. He looks weird. And, like, I'm pretty sure most of that is just because I expected him to look the same as, 2034 Takeshi, but, like... Huh. Huh. Takeshi pulled him back from Coco. What are you doing? Jackass, calm the hell down. What do you think that's gonna accomplish, huh? But Coco's gonna... She's gonna... If we don't do anything, Coco's gonna die. Calm down. There's gotta be something we can do. Don't get crazy. Let's just calm down and think. Sora interrupted Takeshi and the kid with her hand. Looking at all the people gathered in the face, she announced. There's an installation called IBF directly below us. The management company that built Limu is Lilac Pharmaceutical. Their research facility is IBF. IBF? Takeshi mumbled to himself. It seemed as if it were familiar to him. There's a medical center there that's far superior to this one, at least from the information I can get from Lemma's database. It appears they have a new type of high-pressure oxygen treatment device there. And if we can treat her with that, her white blood cell activity should increase. This should help ease Coco's condition somewhat. Alright then. IBF. So all we need to do is get her over there and Coco can be saved, right? However, in order to get to IBF, we have to get through Heimel, and Heimel's door isn't opening. I don't care, we're going. There isn't any other way there. might not work. But we don't know that unless we try, right? Sora, show me how to get there. Hey kid, give me a hand. Okay. Takeshi picked up Coco's inert body and carried her piggyback. They arrived at Heimel. The door was shut fast. Damn it, what are we gonna do? Coco slid off Takeshi's back. She weakly hunched over on the floor. The color of her face had gone translucent white, her lips parched, and her eyes looked feverish. Just then... Öffnen Sie die Tür von Heimel. What does that mean? Someone's trying to access Lemma's system. From inside the room, from a terminal inside Heimel. What? The access indicator light for the electronic light began to blink, and soon changed to green. The hatch's lever raised and turned automatically. The door opened. So that's like Coco's dad is opening the door? Or is it this Blake Winkle fellow? It was pure white inside. Squinting against the brightness, they walked into the room to explore. It appeared as if this was the computer control room. Hey, there's someone here! Did he open up the door just now? There was someone passed out on the floor. He was a man who appeared to be in his 40s, dressed in a white lab coat. Hey mister, are you alright? Takeshi rushed over to the man and lifted him into a sitting position. The man didn't reply to Takeshi's call, he just sat there with his eyes closed. Who is this guy? Sora, do you have any idea who this is? No, I'm unable to verify his ID. But judging from the way he's dressed, it's safe to assume he was a researcher at the IBF facility. The researcher let out a dry gasp and opened his eyes slightly. Hey, are you one of the staff from the research facility? Yeah, that's right. Doesn't seem like you're here to rescue me. With a shaking hand, he grabbed onto Takeshi. The hand was covered in blood. So there were still people in Limu. It's been 6 days since? What a surprise. Blood trickled from his mouth and he smiled wryly. Hey, don't strain yourself. You don't have to talk. I'm so sorry. It's all our fault. What happened? Did something happen down yet? Everyone stood quietly, gathered around the researcher, and seemed to have lost the ability to talk. The research worker murmured and looked up vacantly at all the figures around him. But why all this? And he suddenly fell silent. His eyelids slowly closed. Hey, hang in there. Takeshi shook the man's shoulders. There was no response, but at least it seemed he was breathing. We'll have to bring him with us. Takeshi nodded and stood up, and picked up the unconscious researcher. Watching the situation, Sora began a quiet explanation. Everyone, at the far end of this room is another room. Can you see it? That's a compression chamber for IBF. Judging from my incomplete data, IBF is enclosed in higher pressure gas than Limu. The IBF area is set to what's known as saturated diving specifications. This type of area is also probably more suitable for research with bacteria. The atmospheric pressure of IBF is actually at about 12.5 atmospheres. I want all of you to enter that room, and after you spend about 1 hour in the compression chamber, you'll take the access elevator down to IBF. And I should tell you this as a precaution, but you will not be able to retrace your steps easily from this point on. Please give this due consideration. Following Sora's instructions, everyone headed into the IBF compression chamber. The long compression started. During that time, nobody said a single word. The compression finished. Everyone was headed into the elevator. The door sealed and the elevator started to lower as though it were sliding. Depth 210 feet. Depth 240 feet. Depth 270 feet. Depth 357 feet. The door opened and everyone poured out. It seemed there was a pool where a small submarine could dock. Although the area was directly attached to the ocean, the inside and outside pressure were the same, keeping the ocean water out of the room. It was the same as turning a cup upside down and putting it in the water. They all stopped in their tracks, and as if waiting for an alarm to go off, they studied their surroundings tensely. There was no sign of anyone. Anyway, let's get to where we have to go. They opened a watertight door on the other side of the room and continued deeper into the installation. Examination room. The kid and you placed Coco, who had been carrying, on a nearby bed. Tsugumi and Takeshi lowered the researcher gently into the chair. An LMRI, the same type that had been in Limu, was in the room. Hey, you. Where's that high-pressure oxygen thing that Sora was talking about? How should I know? Tsugumi, what should we do? Well, we'll have to look for it. None of us knows a thing about this place. Wait. The researcher coughed as he spoke. Hey, don't move. Are you okay? I've been better, but at least I'm alive. The researcher raised his hand weakly as he spoke. This smell, this IBF? I'm back where I started. So you were working here? Wait, there's something I want to ask you. We're looking for something called a high-pressure oxygen treatment device. We've come as far as the examination room, but we don't have a clue what to look for. Can you help us? Please. Oxygen treatment. Yeah, you're looking for the pods. There should be some alloy capsules with mats set inside of them. They look like a bunch of cylinders stuck to a pillar. You see them? Yeah, they're right in front of me. That's them. Hang in there. We found them, so don't waste your energy talking anymore, okay? New blood appeared on the researcher's closed hand as he wiped his mouth. Just take a look at the manual. It should be easy to operate. Okay, I gotcha. The strength left the researcher's hand. As he sat there, it seemed all the life had left the researcher's body, and he looked like an old, withered-up tree. Let's get Coco into a pod. And this researcher, too. Yeah. They put Coco and the researcher into separate pods and closed the lids. Did you find the manual? Yeah, this is the control panel. Flipping through the thick book, which appeared to be a manual, you started operating a terminal a short distance away. High-pressure oxygen treatment set. The screens of the monitors attached to the tubes flickered, and both of the pods seemed to be functioning normally. That should do it. Okay. Blood pressure, heart rate, respiration rate, normal. They silently watched Coco and the observer, or the researcher, rather. Although it was too soon to say if they had recovered, Coco and the researcher's face seemed to settle a bit. They had somehow managed to stave off death. So relieved. Yeah, tell me about it. Yeah. Looks like we made it in time. Oof. Everyone let out a sigh of relief. It seemed as if they'd escaped the worst for the moment. Well, we don't have time to hang around, you know? They started searching around the facility. Their aim was threefold: to find a way to escape the facility, to see if any communication lines were open, and to look for any other survivors. While Takeshi, Tsugumi, and the young Kaburaki were searching around IBF, you stayed with the resting Coco and the researcher. Meanwhile, Takeshi and the others soon arrived at a small room covered in iron plating. There were a few computer terminals there with nobody stationed at them. Operating the terminals, they scanned through some of the information there. They were searching for any information that they could use, and finally came across something interesting. IBF Visitor Registry, Koko Yagami. Koko's name was listed in the corner of a business log. Looking further into the file, there seemed to be a personal memo written by somebody. Author, Takeshi Yagami. I get to see my daughter for the first time in a while. Wait. What? Is that a coincidence? Like, I recognize that Takeshi is a fairly common name in Japan, but like, we're like deep in the throes of a mystery novel, right? So like, I should not assume anything is a coincidence. Like, why is his name Takeshi? Like, don't know how concerned I need to be, but I feel like I'm probably supposed to be a little concerned. Wait a minute. So if Takeshi's like gonna die, okay, so like Takeshi might like die and then go back in time, and then maybe Coco and Sarah are, if not the same person, at least similar people? Is there like time travel bullshit about to happen? Like, I feel like the series has been fairly good about avoiding time travel bullshit up until now. Like, they hinted at it, but like, so far their time travel mechanism seems like fairly straightforward. Like, people can access memories from the past and the future and other timelines, but they can't actually like actively move from one timeline to another. And like, but like this could get real messy really quickly. Could also just be a coincidence, but like, we still don't have a great handle on like what Coco's deal is, and like, I don't know, I'm deeply concerned now. Her school's on vacation, so she has a 10-day break. I've been trapped for so long in this tin can doing virus research that I'm jealous. That aside, when I told her that special permission had been granted for her to come down and see IBF, she sent me a happy reply saying she would. We've exchanged mail every once in a while, but I wonder how long it's been since we've actually seen each other. I'll just be happy if she hasn't forgotten what I look like. Which meant that Coco had been to visit IBF once before May 1st. To see her father. Postscript. It seemed that TY's daughter is still working part-time here at Limu. I'm not sure if I should tell him or... Wait. What? What? He's still alive? I thought he was dead. Because I assume that's Yu's dad, right? Wait. What? They're both TY? Is that Okay, now I'm confused again. Like, is that a coincidence? Oh, I probably already knew Yu's dad's initials, right? It's like Tanaka... It's not Yukie, that's the mom. What was the dad's name again? Did anyone ever tell me what his name is? I feel like I was probably told at some point. Whatever, I'll figure it out eventually. After that point, all the data was corrupted, making it impossible to check what else had been written. In the end, they found nothing. No way out, no means to communicate with above, and no survivors. After searching around, Takeshi, Kaburaki, and Tsugumi all headed back to the examination room. Yu, how are they doing? Yeah, it looks like they're doing okay for now. Yu looked tired as she sat down and faced the pod's control panel. Her eyes were a bit red, as if she'd been crying. Oh yeah, Takeshi, I checked the medical database from this terminal earlier, but... Yeah, did you find something? Yeah. It looks as if they still haven't found any definite way to treat the T-Flau virus. Although the symptoms can be temporarily treated by injecting that orange serum. Otherwise, the only option is to hope for the small chance it'll clear up by itself. Oh. That sucks. Huh? What do you mean? Well, basically, if Coco's gonna heal, her immune system's gonna have to work a little harder. We brought her to the treatment pod. All we can do now is hope. Yeah, it's all we can do. No. Coco isn't gonna get better? Nobody said that. Whether she gets better or not is up to Coco's will to live. The young Kaburaki walked over to the pod where Coco was sleeping. Coco! Coco! He started to cry, latching onto the pod as though he were embracing it. We still don't know how much the pod's going to help Coco. Yu murmured softly as she read the life signs on the monitor. It seems that this pod can also do laser disinfecting as well as simple surgery, in addition to the oxygen treatment. And depending on how you use it, even cryogenic suspension. Suspension? What's that, Yu? I'm not sure, it was just in the manual. We don't really know what's gonna happen. All we can do is have faith and wait. Right then, beep, a sharp alarm sounded from the control panel monitor. Shocked, the four of them all turned to face the screen at once. Ah! An agonized expression came over the face of the researcher. He thrashed and contorted inside of the cramped capsule. Ah! Hey, mister! The researcher coughed violently and clawed at his throat. His hand and the area around his mouth were stained red. Ah! The color quickly drained from his skin. His breathing became shallow, and he groaned in a low voice. No, I can't believe his condition would change like this. Hey, mister, stop grabbing at your throat like that. You'll crush it. He slowly lowered his hands, which had been thrashing at his throat. Hey, mister, you alright? He doesn't sound alright. He sounds, decidedly not alright. No! This is as far as I can make it. The researcher was barely breathing. He was trying to breathe. He let out a gasp, but wasn't able to bring in air. This is my reward. Yu pored over the manual and desperately searched the control panel. But there was nothing she could do. There was no way for her to keep him alive. She pounded on the manual, then placed both elbows on the panel and covered her face with her hands. Ah! She burst into tears. Tsugumi and Kaburaki gazed at the monitor with strained expressions. The researcher's vital signs were getting weaker. My daughter, take care of her. He looked as though he were smiling, and finally he stopped breathing. The life readings from the capsule pod went blank, and an electronic alarm sounded what seemed like forever. Takeshi reached out his hand to the panel and turned off the alarm. How is Coco? Normal, Yu replied in a voice filled with tears. There doesn't seem to be anything wrong for the moment. Okay, thanks. We'll have to make sure he gets a proper burial. It was an unsettling silence. In the belly of that iron hulk, they stopped breathing and stood still. Their expressions were lifeless. Wasn't Takeshi supposed to start, showing signs of T-Flau before now? It was impossible to tell what any of them were thinking. The white interior of the room was filled with a quiet calm. Time passed slowly, cruelly, crawling forward second by second. Takeshi and Yu leaned against the wall of the corridor. He had certain situations that he couldn't escape from. Certain things that kept him alive. You finally spoke. Her small voice bounced off of the cold iron walls of the partitioning. Things? Before he died and everyone was off searching, I had a chance to talk with him some. I tried to get him to stop because he seemed like he was suffering, but he said talking made him feel better, so... I see. Well, what did he talk about? Before coming to IBF, he said that he'd been involved with a project to develop Limu's system. He was one of the staff that had engineered Limu's management software. Meaning that Heimel, Lemme, and Sora, everything he made went into Limu. Being a programmer, the system here at Limu was like his own child. So, he was worried about his children? Yeah, that must have been it. No, he's worried about his literal daughter, who was in the pod next to him. I think. Probably. Worrying about his children is what helped him live a little longer. She closed her eyes and let out a small sigh. And as if shrugging off the heaviness of the moment, she bolted away from the wall and said, "Oh yeah, there's one thing I heard from him that I was able to check up on." "What's that?" "Sora's location. The Sora that we know isn't in until Null." "Eh?" "We know that Lemma's central processing unit, the main supercomputer, is on the floating island. It seems that everything that happens here on Limu is saved in Limu's memory storage." "What?" "Livelook Pharmaceutical keeps an original system program for Sora Akanagasaki. So even if they lose a copy here at Limu, it won't hurt them at all. So basically, it's possible to make many different versions of the Sora system. Even the Sora here might just be a copy. But think about it. Sora is Sora, right? There's only one Sora that we know, right? So what's the only thing that separates the Sora we know from other Soras? Memory. The only thing that we and the Sora here share is memory. That's it." Takeshi tapped repeatedly on the area between his eyebrows and opened his mouth. "Really? If Sora's memory is here at Limu, then the Sora we know is... Sora is in Heimel." You nodded. She touched Takeshi's shoulder lightly, and tracing her finger across his chest went back into the examination room. Left by himself, Takeshi started wandering aimlessly off down the corridor. He turned right at a corner, then left. Tracing the wall with his hand, he kept walking, and ended up in front of IBF's large pool. There was already someone there. Tsugumi was looking at the gentle ripples in the pool. As if she had drawn him there, Takeshi went to stand by Tsugumi. "Huh?" Takeshi stopped suddenly. He turned around and stared at a spot on the wall. "Huh? Takeshi, what's wrong?" Tsugumi noticed Takeshi. Following Takeshi's gaze, she turned her eyes to stare over at the same spot on the wall. There was nothing there. Wait. No, that's not true. Both of their lines of sight were pointed at... me. What? What? I'm super confused now. Takeshi and Tsugumi were looking at me right then. I don't know, I felt like somebody was, staring at me. Takeshi turned back and said this to Tsugumi. "Hmm?" Tsugumi tilted her head quizzically, and with her head turned to the side, she narrowed her eyes and searched Takeshi's face. "Takeshi? Your nose is bleeding." "Hmm? You've got a nosebleed." "Eh?" Takeshi hurriedly put his hand to his nose. His upper lip was wet with something. "Hey, are you okay?" Tsugumi looked worriedly at Takeshi's face. "Fine, I'm fine." Looking up and wiping under his nose, Takeshi replied, "I wasn't thinking anything sexual. Absolutely, positively." It's not like I don't care about that." "Oh, alright then." The blood wouldn't stop flowing. I look like such a dork." "Who cares what you look like?" "I care. Looking like this in front of, you, Takeshi spat out blood. Copious amounts of fresh blood poured from his nose and mouth, and simultaneously his knees buckled. What's wrong with me?" Takeshi looked at his blood-covered hands and blinked. His legs swayed unsteadily, and the color quickly drained from his face. "What's this about? Blood is..." "Takeshi! Takeshi, hang in there." No. Hey, I'm fine. Don't worry, Tsugumi. Don't worry." "What are you talking about? You're covered in blood, Takeshi. We need to get you to the examination room and get you looked at right away." "Yeah." Tsugumi supported Takeshi with her shoulder and pulled him along in the entrance of the corridor. From the entrance, a single shadow jumped out. He was Yubisei Harukana. Takeshi, the kid! He's in bad shape!" After that, Using the LMRI, they found out that Takeshi, you, and the young Kaburaki were all infected with the T-Plow virus. Using the orange serum, the three of them were given shots. After that, their symptoms improved a bit, but not the severity of the situation that had still not changed. What do we do about Coco? Takeshi asked this as he pressed down on the disinfectant-stained gauze. She's still undergoing the oxygen treatment, so we can't open the pod. It looks like the treatment's progressing normally. As long as she's in there, I don't think her condition will get much worse. As soon as she's finished, let's give her a shot as well. Yeah, okay. Takeshi's face was still pale. It was hard to believe that it had ever been the color of a living person. His pupils were cloudy, his eyelids swollen, and sweat flowed freely down his face. Wiping away sweat, Takeshi wandered around the room. I'm not sure how long her condition will hold with just one shot. Hey, you, do you think we can do anything after it stops working? You was sitting at the computer terminal, silently typing on the keyboard. You, tell me what we can expect. Don't talk to me, can't concentrate. Alright. Trying my best. But someone's put a lock on the communications protocol, and we can't make contact with the surface. But every once in a while, I found some communication data that crosses through. If I can release that lock, well anyway, we might just be able to get through somehow. At least it's better than Limu, where we had no way of making contact. Alright, show me what you got, genius. Okay. And looking like the dead, they both smiled weakly at one another. Brownish bloodstains were smeared on their mouths. Takeshi left you to go look at the monitor set in the column. The monitor displayed the status of the capsule pods. How's Coco doing? Tsugumi came up behind Takeshi and asked. She's in a serious but stable condition. Really? According to the information on the monitor, Coco still had 4 more hours until she could come out. The pod was filled with high-pressure oxygen. And until the time was over, Coco couldn't leave. Hey, Takeshi? Tsugumi whispered to Takeshi softly. What? Don't you think it's strange that I don't need any serum? Huh? Yeah. Well, now that you mention it, yeah. You okay? Yeah, I'm fine. Fine. Oh, well, that's a relief. But you don't think it's strange? I'm the only one who doesn't show any symptoms of the T-Plow virus. Isn't that odd? Well, no, I mean... Takeshi smiled softly and continued. You said it yourself. The functioning of your immune system and metabolic efficiency are remarkable, and your telomeres never stop regenerating. Meaning, it's, well, you know. Yeah. She looked down slightly and puffed out her cheeks. She raised her eyes. Tsugumi walked over to you and murmured, Would you scan me? Would you check me? Cure virus P carrier. These words appeared on the LMRI display soundlessly. The screen showed that Tsugumi was a cure virus carrier. The T-Plow virus was also in Tsugumi's body, as with the others, but her genetic makeup had been altered by Cure, and because of the peculiar functioning of her immune system, antibodies had been generated instantly, driving out T-Plow. Cure. Tsugumi had gone beyond the normal human capability. She had mentioned that she was special. Successful cases of genetic manipulation were probably exceedingly rare. Cure. Looking at the results from the LMRI scan, New nodded. So, the Cure virus really did exist. You know about it, you? I found it in Limu's database. But before that, I'd heard it once, from a certain person. Certain person? Someone called, Shigezo Morino. He's a world-renowned geneticist. He told me about it when I met him. In this world, there are probably at least 2 or more types of the Cure virus. So this must be one of them. Yep, me. I'm a carrier of the Cure virus. I'm already not like other people. But, Tsugumi, why would you... I already told Takeshi, but I also wanted you to know, you. Besides, it's easier to have the machine show you than explain it myself, right? That's why you wanted me to scan you? Yep. Well, I don't suppose anything changes now that you found out. Tsugumi laughed at herself derisively. Tsugumi, it's strange, Takeshi. Biting her lip, Tsugumi was trying her best to laugh. But there's something even stranger than me. This machine knew right away that I had the Cure virus. What do you think? There have only been a few documented cases of Cure in the whole world. Why do you think the computer could scan it so quickly? Takeshi's pupils dilated momentarily. He squinted and replied slowly. Oh, so that's it. Lieblich Pharmaceutical already knew about the existence of the Cure virus. Just like T-Plow. Yep. Tsugumi turned up to face the ceiling and closed her eyes, saying, That's why I came here, to Limu, to IBF. I had to come here. I wanted them to know the true gravity of the seriousness of my existence was. But I've come all the way and nobody's here. So stupid. So stupid. From her closed eyes, a single tear fell. It suddenly became dark. From the darkness, I could hear only voices. Hey, Takeshi, have you ever hated anything, or hated everything, and thought that you want to die? No. I wondered to myself, where am I? Was I inside of someone? I couldn't see anything. All I could hear were voices coming from somewhere. Passionate voices. An agonizing scream. We're gonna die, we're gonna make it out of here! We don't have any more time to waste here. I'm gonna get out of this hell. I can save you, I'll prove it. Everyone, I'm gonna save everyone who's here. I won't let a single one die. The voice cut out suddenly, and the darkness cleared like a fog. My vision returned gradually. The scene spread out gradually before me, but I had still lost my center. Other than a sense of impending disaster, and the stagnant, heavy air around me, I could feel nothing else. Look. Stare intently. Why do you even bother looking? Was a doubt that crept through my mind, but it faded quickly. All I could do was to watch the events in this world as they passed by. I watched. I was an existence that could only watch. All I was a perspective. It's time for desperate measures, Takeshi said this suddenly. His eyes shone with a dull light. It seemed that the serum was losing its effect. Although Takeshi, Yu, and the young Kaburaki seemed to be maintaining their composure, their breathing was ragged. Well, I'm not a doctor, so I can't really tell, but smallpox, penicillin, snake antivenom. You're pretty smart. This should make sense to you, right? No way. Certainly chance. Your body's creating antibodies to the T-Flau virus. We'll use that. If we can get those antibodies, there's a small chance we can fight off the T-Flau. It's too dangerous. You have any idea how hard it is to make antibodies and vaccines that work? There's almost no chance. If you make even the slightest mistake, it could kill all of you. If we didn't do anything, we're dead anyway. Tsugumi's expression froze. Yu and the young Kaburaki raised their heads to look at Takeshi. That's right, if we don't do anything, we're dead. And if that's the case, it's better that we take this risk no matter how small our chance of survival. Fresh blood flew from Takeshi's mouth. A crimson mist danced in the air and floated away. Damn, not again. Can't believe how lame this is. Takeshi curtly wiped his mouth. What, you're gonna laugh at me, Tsugumi, for being such a dork? Come on, laugh, Tsugumi. Takeshi held out his blood-covered hand towards Tsugumi. Stop it! Stay away from me! Stop, I don't want to! Shaking her head fiercely, Tsugumi backed away. Takeshi. Listen, Takeshi, Tsugumi. You opened her mouth to talk from where she was sitting at the terminal. There's a simple lab in the back of the examination room. I saw a centrifuge and a machine for refining serum. We could probably use that to safely and quickly extract the T-Flau antibodies. If this thing can scan for T-Flau, it can probably scan for the antibodies and extract them. She continued to talk in a low, calm voice. Tsugumi, please help us. I'm asking you. Stay away from me, Takeshi. Don't touch me. Takeshi had backed her up all the way to the bed. You want to live with this disease? Once you got the cure virus, you can't go back. Do you have any idea what you're in for? We don't know that the cure virus will infect everyone. Even you said you were special, right? Please, I'm begging you. Let me take a gamble, so that everyone can live. You won't be a normal person anymore. I don't want everyone to have to live with the pain that I have. So you're gonna, let him die? I know that. I recognize the choices available here aren't great, but, I feel like one of them is better than the other one. Also, I feel like I said this last time as well, but oh well. I know that. Ah, you fool, you fool. You know I can't fight you. Tsugumi ran into Takeshi's arms. She nestled up close and began to cry with all her might. If you mess this up, I'll never forgive you, Takeshi. It's okay. It's gonna be okay. I promise you. We're all gonna get out of this, okay? Tsugumi was crying. Her breathing uneven and shoulders shaking, Tsugumi wept freely on Takeshi's chest. Takeshi embraced her thin body. Her muffled cries continued to echo throughout the cold room. After waiting for Tsugumi to compose herself, they carried out the procedure. Drawing blood from Tsugumi's arm, they extracted the antibodies and gave shots to Takeshi, Yu, and the young Kaburaki. They weren't able to give Koko a shot because she was still in the pod undergoing treatment. And it would still be a while before she could leave. They made another dose of antibodies for when Koko was ready, and put it in the equipment storage container on the desk. Almost an hour had passed since the shot. The antibodies didn't seem to be having any effect. The 3 infected patients were lying, worn out, on their beds. Tsugumi said something briefly to Takeshi and went back to Limu. I'm going to get Chami and bring him back, were the words she left him with. Takeshi nodded weakly and closed his eyes. Suddenly, from his barely conscious state, a noise from the speaker reached Takeshi's ears. Come in. IBF-3, please respond. This is an emergency rescue team from the Maritime Defense Force. Takeshi rushed over to the terminal. Hello? This is the IBF Infirmary. Over. IBF-3, I repeat, this is the emergency rescue team from the Maritime Defense Force. Can you hear me? Yeah, we can hear you, and we hear you loud and clear. Voices spilled over from the other end of the line. Hey, there's survivors down there. Can't believe it. It's amazing. We're sending a rescue team immediately. Can you access the pool in IBF-3? Yeah, it should be fine. You know how many survivors there are and where they're located? In the examination room there are 5, no, 6. 6, a copy. Our rescue team is headed there in a private sector salvage vessel. When it arrives, I want you to follow their directions and get out of there. How long till they get here? They're going as fast as they can, but it'll take about an hour. But if something goes wrong, there should be a small deep exploration submarine left in the research facility. I hate to make you do this, but I want you to escape to that area. Something goes wrong? What do you mean? The partition strength threshold is already being exceeded. If one section implodes, there's a risk that another area could collapse and start sinking. If that happens, we think there's a high possibility that heavy pieces could crash down on the research facility. But, alright, I understand. Of course, we're doing everything we can to get to you before that happens. We're heading there no matter what, so please, hold out a little longer. Click. The connection cut out suddenly. Hey, wait a sec. Takeshi hit the call button repeatedly, but there was no answer. Damn it, we can't open up comms from this side. Takeshi began to pore through the manual on the side of the communication terminal. Ah, here it is. Following the instructions on the manual, he used the control panel to call up information on the monitor. Small electric submersible. The submarine was in a The submarine was in a separate sealed sector attached to IBF. The specification says it was a neutral buoyancy miniature submarine for saturation diving. The important thing was, it could be brought over to the pool by remote control. If things get dangerous, I guess they want us aboard this. He quickly went about setting up the remote control program, so that they could move the submarine at a moment's notice if necessary. Alright. All we have to do now is get Tsugumi and Sora over here. The second Takeshi said this. Boom! Suddenly, a low metallic crashing sound reverberated throughout the installation. The sound seemed to come from above. An alarm sounded from the terminal and the screen changed. Warning, Limu hull breach, flooding. Limu? This is bad. That means Tsugumi and Sora... Takeshi ran out into the corridor. It was only slight, but the floor was trembling. Ah! He suddenly seemed to get dizzy and lost his balance, crashing into a wall. Holding his fingers to his temples, Takeshi shook his head to clear it. I still gotta go. I have to go. Staggering while he ran, Takeshi took off. His legs moved as if he couldn't distinguish up from down, but still, he kept running. He stumbled into the elevator. The lift he was on started moving up. Depth 270 feet. Depth 240 feet. Depth 210 feet. He ran from the lift to the compression chamber. Takeshi hit the intercom button violently. Sora! Sora! Takeshi? What are you... Takeshi waved to Sora as she appeared outside the window. Hey, long time no see. But what are you doing here? Well, it's obvious, isn't it? I came back. What's the damage? There's flooding in White Stock. The warehouse area has been breached and cracks are beginning to form in the elevator shaft. The situation is serious. There's over 6 inches of flooding in almost all of the corridors. Where's Tsugumi? She's trapped in the infirmary. What about the door? The electronic lock has been released, but won't open because of the water pressure? Yes. Takeshi, I'm gonna start decompressing the chamber. How long will it take? I'll complete it as soon as possible. I need to know how much time. If I hurry, 12 hours. 12 hours? We don't have that long! If we don't dissolve the nitrogen in your blood, you'll get decompression sickness. I don't care! Open that door now! I can't do that. If we don't act fast, Tsugumi is dead. If we open the door now, due to the rapid decompression, the nitrogen in your bloodstream will form bubbles, causing blood clots, and in the worst case... I don't care, you get the door open now. I can't, it's too... Looking around, Takeshi's eyes fell on an emergency escape lever on the inside of the chamber. Without hesitating, he pulled it down and kicked the door. Kaboom! There was a horrible noise as though all the air inside had exploded. Takeshi's body was thrown from the room, along with the high-pressure gas that had been built up inside. He was tossed like a piece of confetti, sliding and rolling along the floor only to stop when he crashed into the wall. Ah! 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 Takeshi twisted in agony. He flailed his four limbs as though he were a man gone insane. Ah! Ah! From his unnatural contorted position on the floor, Takeshi began vomiting. Takeshi, are you okay? Well, looks like I'm still alive. Takeshi crawled weakly over the floor. He crawled and stood, fell again and rose again. Then he fell backward. Repeating this process over and over, he finally made it to the door and said, leaning his shoulder against the wall, "Don't you stop me, you hear? No matter what you say, I'm going." "All right, Takeshi, it seems that you made up your mind. I'll stay here in Heimel to keep track of the situation at Limu and send updates to your PDA. I'll do what I can to stop the partitions from falling, to see that this place stays together even a little while longer, so promise me that you'll come back here with Tsugumi." "Yeah, it's a promise." And saying that, he laughed weakly. Running up the stairs, he looked down at his PDA. There was a life reading in the infirmary. The map showed that the surrounding corridors were flooded and there was no way to access the area. Arriving at its white stock, he threw himself into the water. In order to reach the corridor connecting to the infirmary, Takeshi dove. At this point, there was no way to access it without swimming. Takeshi turned the PDA's backlight on. It shed a weak light on the area before him. Maybe he realized that there wasn't any point, but Takeshi turned off the light and kept swimming in total darkness. Swam, and kept swimming. Takeshi propelled himself forward as though possessed. There was no sign of fear or unease in the way that he moved. He fiercely tore at the wall of water surrounding him, progressing steadily forward. He was being reckless, perhaps even acting insane, but he was willing to sacrifice it all for what he was convinced he had to do. And neither the water nor the intense pressure could defeat the power of his faith and courage of that conviction. He kept swimming on and on strongly, purposefully, heading for the light. Splash! Takeshi sucked in air greedily as he brought his head out of the water. Ignoring his burning lungs, he quickly climbed up the open hole of the elevator shaft and began scrambling toward the infirmary. "Tsugumi! Tsugumi!" She was in a corner of the room, hugging her knees to herself. At her feet was the slightly wet, furry figure of Chami. "Takeshi, what? Why?" Tsugumi opened her eyes wide. "What are you so surprised about, Tsugumi? Came back right now. I came back for you." "Well, I was a bit late, but..." Takeshi scratched his nose. You idiot, what are you doing here? Do you want to die?" "Listen." Takeshi was laughing as he spoke. "Came back for something I forgot. Yeah, that's it." "You forgot?" Picking up Chami in both hands, she stood up slowly. "Yeah, I left it here, silly me. My irreplaceable, more important to me than anything else, friend." How did you get here?" She looked at Takeshi as if she still couldn't believe he was really there. "Well, I'm a good swimmer. Actually, in a 25-meter pool. I made it down and back once. I kicked off the wall coming back, but still." Takeshi mimed swimming as he spoke. "Wait, I think I just beat my record a while ago. Hey, do you remember the first I've ever swam underwater? 51 meters? She answered, her expression beginning to break down. "Yeah! You think I'd die in a place like this? I mean, I still haven't gotten enough abuse from you yet. I want to hear what you got to say from here on out." So? I came for you, Tsugumi." Takeshi! They both ran toward each other. Reaching out their hands to one another, they came together. And in the center of the infirmary, they hugged each other close, embracing firmly. Riding on Tsugumi's shoulder was Chami. Chami snorted and looked at the two. Having rescued Tsugumi from the infirmary, Takeshi made it safely back to Heimel. Sora was waiting for them back in the room. "Takeshi, Tsugumi! I prepared the chamber for you. Get inside quickly." "Hey, what's the rush, Sora?" Although Takeshi was out of breath, he waved the flustered Sora off with his hands. Come on, you have to hurry." "Relax, I still have one more thing I've forgotten." "Forgotten? What?" "This." Takeshi pointed to Heimel's console. The following words were written on the monitor. "Willkommener Lemme Login TY. LMRSDS 4913A Sora Akanagasaki. Akten Kopie werd Vervolstangdet?" Again, extensive apologies to any German speakers who I've just sent into like anaphylactic shock. If it makes you feel any better, I'm not like actively trying to offend you. or butcher your language. I just don't know how to pronounce these words. Not my fault. I blame the government. Suddenly there was an intense flash of light. And from the blinding flood of light, a voice could be heard. I was able to finish the transfer just in time. The last password and name, TY. Tanaka Yoichi. Oh, Yoichi, right, that's what his name was. Where is this? I wondered. Was I inside someone? I couldn't see anything. All I could hear was a voice coming from somewhere. A warm voice. A murmuring filled with peace. It was in Heimel, along with Sora's memory. It's on that terabyte disk. Thank you, Dad. The voice cut out with a crackle. The light faded. Color gradually returned to Takeshi's field of vision. And when color had finally returned, Takeshi opened his mouth. Ah! Keep it simple! And letting out a strange shout, Takeshi pounded the enter key on the console. A round, flat wafer shot out of the disk drive. It was a single terabyte disk made out of polycarbonate. Okay, taking this with me. Had Takeshi been able to hear Yu's voice? He stuffed the disk in his pocket. Yes. Taking a sidelong glance at the dumbfounded Sora, Takeshi went along with Tsugumi to the other side of the glass. Into IBF's compression chamber. Tsugumi slumped over in a chair, breathing with her whole body. Phew! Takeshi breathed deeply, and looked out of the window to the control room on the other side of the window. The door to the chamber sealed, and compression started. Sora! Guess this means goodbye for a while. Sora was standing still on the other side of the chamber. Smiling softly, Sora shook her head left to right. No, this isn't goodbye. I don't say goodbye. Yeah, me neither. Takeshi returned her smile. I don't exist. And yet, I'm everywhere. There will be a time when we meet again, I'm sure of it. So please, don't ask me anything now. Okay. I understand. Now. I don't know how, but I understand now. That the only place to find you is here, yet I can find you anywhere. Yes. Oh, and when you hit a button, don't forget to say keep it simple. Remember that. Yeah. Don't worry. I'll remember. That's a promise. Mine and yours, Professor. Thank you. The RSD image started to warp and break up. A fog enveloped Sora from behind. Sora's image changed to a rainbow hue. And then even the rainbow started to fade. Sarah's form disappeared. Sora's form disappeared. Takeshi watched it all happen and nodded as though he had confirmed something. Compression complete. Takeshi and Tsugumi loaded into the elevator and headed back to the research facility. It's quiet. Yeah, you're right. The flooding should have been fairly advanced in the area above them. It was hard to know if any of the sections had collapsed yet. But for the moment, everything was normal at IBF. On the surface of the pool, there was not even a ripple. What's wrong? The time. We're past the scheduled time. What schedule? Actually, there's a rescue team on their way. There was a rescue team on their way. Rescue? Yeah, they call themselves the Maritime Defense Force, I think. Yu was able to open up the communication line, so we got a hold of Insel Null. And talking this way, they made their way to the examination room. They opened the door and went inside. They aren't here. Nobody's here? Tsugumi raised her voice. But there was nobody in the room to respond. Takeshi checked each of the capsule pods, but they were all empty. Yeah. You, the kid, Coco, that old guy, they're all gone. Where did they go? Hey, hold on. I'm sure the rescue team found them. Just then, a recognizable voice came over the speaker. This is Insel Null Control. Please respond. Takeshi jumped to the terminal and hit the talk button. This is the examination room in IBF-3. Over. Thank goodness. That's where you were. A little while ago, we got a message from the dispatch team that they couldn't find you. Got us worried there. I'm sorry. I was out for a bit. We were able to rescue the other 3 people in the examination room, and they're being cared for in the salvage vessel. Is everyone okay? We can't say for sure. Their conditions are serious. We're fighting against time. The submersible is going to surface soon, and we'll transfer them to the floating medical center. Okay, you take care of them. How many people are there with you? 2, including me. The other person didn't make it. Roger, we'll send the team back there as soon as we can. But there's a possibility that the team won't be able to approach IBF if it starts to break up. We've got the exploration vessel standing by. We can call it here by remote control, right? Yeah. I'm sorry to have to ask you to use it, but there's nothing else we can do. We'll do the best we can. Whatever happens, you hang in there. Roger. And after that, the communications cut out. What that's supposed to mean? You weren't listening? All this would be for nothing if everyone died while they were waiting for us. The rescue team decided to put a higher priority on getting you, the kid, and Coco to the hospital than waiting for us. Yeah, you're right. The color in Tsugumi's face slowly returned to normal as her sense of panic faded. Well, I might just take a nap until the next bus comes. Bus? You think the bus is gonna be late? Call a cab for me, will you? Taxi? What are you talking about? Takeshi? Push that button, a small submarine will come over here by remote control. Very own private taxi should come here from another area of IBF. Okay. Anyway, I'm just glad that everyone's alright. Yes. A look of relief flooded softly over his face. I'm just, so glad. Like a marionette that had its strings cut, Takeshi's body collapsed. Takeshi? Tsugumi ran over to Takeshi and struggled to hold him up. She shook him by the shoulders, but Takeshi would not wake up. He was breathing, and his heartbeat seemed normal. Although he felt slightly hot, it didn't seem like his life was in danger. Tsugumi carried Takeshi over to the bed, and placing her hand on his chest, she closed his eyes, or her eyes rather. The light sound of their breathing gradually took on the same timing, and softly filled the room. They fell into a deep sleep. At the same time, I woke up suddenly. Limu's infirmary. I'd been sprawled out, sleeping on the bed. Getting up, I looked around. Nobody was there. I felt a pain in my left hand, and looked at my palm. There was a large bandage on the edge of it. That's right, I injured my hand in the whale room, and then I lost my memory again, and was probably brought to this room. Where is everyone? I slowly got off the bed and slipped on my shoes. Creak, creak, creak. Groan, groan, groan. The sound of metal screeching and rubbing together came from somewhere in the immediate vicinity. Another sound came to my ears, and I could tell it was an alarm ringing somewhere far off. But strangely, I didn't feel any fear. I must not have been completely awake. Inside, my head was still dim, and it was hard to grasp the situation completely. Just then, whirr, the door to the infirmary opened. Kid! Yu jumped into the room as though she was possessed by a demon. I found an exit we can escape through. Yu was screaming. I found an exit. I said these words to myself over and over. It took me a few seconds to grasp the enormity of those words. Where'd you find it? My mind was still not fully up and running. I'll explain later, just hurry. Saying that, Yu ran out of the infirmary. Still, it took a few more seconds for my legs to get moving. It felt as though we were running on fog. My body was half paralyzed and wouldn't move in the direction I wanted it. I shook my head, trying to get rid of the grogginess. No matter how much I ran, I couldn't return to normal. Where is everyone else? I was barely able to hold on to my consciousness as I somehow got this question off to you. Takeshi's going to get Mayo, and Tsugumi's already in the emergency corridor. Takeshi's going to get Mayo? Tsugumi's in the emergency corridor? For no reason in particular, I repeated Yu's words. Maybe she finally noticed my odd state. Yu looked at me suspiciously. We made it to the emergency corridor. Please stop. With the noise. I would like it to stop. It would make me so happy. Kaburaki, Tsugumi, and Sarah were already there waiting. Hurry, we don't have much time. Not much time? Just hurry! Kaburaki grabbed my shoulder hard and turning around, started running. Sarah and Tsugumi followed Kaburaki's lead. Listen up. Limu started to implode. We were finally able to make contact with the surface and access the emergency stairs. But if we don't hurry, they're gonna flood. So hurry. You grabbed my arm tightly. And tugging on it violently, you started pounding forward at full speed. It felt like I was about to fall forward, and I braced myself as best I could, trying to keep pace with her as she pulled me forward. We flew like the wind down the painfully cramped passage. And soon, we'd all jumped into the emergency exit stairwell and were running up the stairs. I could hear Kaburaki, Sarah, and Tsugumi, their footsteps right above me. Hurry up, this way! I couldn't see from where Kaburaki was calling, but his booming voice thundered off the sides of the metal bulkhead. Yu's eyes met mine, and nodding to one another, we pumped our legs harder, climbing as fast as we could. The surface of the stairs was wet. The metal tube surrounding us on the emergency staircase was shaking violently left and right. I slipped and whacked my shin hard against a corner, but I felt nothing. Both my legs kept moving as if they were separate from me. My thoughts and feelings were indistinct, vague. An irresistible primal force was propelling me forward, and I handed over the reins to that force. It was a state almost free of thought. All I could do was climb and climb and keep climbing. A sharp metallic sound echoed painfully in my ears. Yeah, you and me both, man. You and me both. The angry cacophony shook my body to its core. It was the screaming of a terrible monster, or the groan of death itself. Oh, maybe we're talking about different noises. I'm talking about this siren that's still going on. The terrible voice was slowly and certainly closing in on us from behind. Just a little more. We're almost there. Kabadaki screamed at us from up above. I briefly saw the backs of Sarah and Tsugumi, who were running up ahead. The meaning of Kabadaki's words, just a little more, hit me. Just a little more, and we can escape from here? From the bottom of that deep ocean? From out of that cage we were trapped in? We're finally getting out. We're gonna be free. But along with that hope, an indistinct fear was still inside of me. A heavy, dark sensation wriggled at the center of my body. It was rotten, filthy. It had stuck to the walls of my heart, stagnant and putrid. Doesn't matter. Even if you get out of here, nothing will have been solved. But as the doubts went through my mind, my legs faltered. 2 steps, 3 steps, 4 steps. I carried forward and the doubt swelling up replaced my elation at rescue. You think you're really going to be let out of here? And as this thought filled my mind, I had already arrived at the last step in front of the door. Nobody said a word. We wiped our sweat and struggled for breath as we glared at the huge door, which rose before us. Oh yeah, that reminds me, we still haven't figured out what the infinity loop is. So, like, that's probably what the voice in Hokuto's head is referring to when it's like, yeah, you can't actually leave. Get bodied, nerd. Like, you can physically leave the building, but there's still this infinity loop nonsense. We wiped our sweat and struggled for breath as we glared at the huge door, which rose before us. Alright, let's go. I put my hand on the door's lever. Clank. The door unlocked. And bracing my chest and shoulder against the door, I threw all my weight into opening it. Creak. Boom. Outside of the door, the sight that greeted us was a sky filled with stars. Oh, that was easy. Covering the dark blue sky above us was an infinite number of shimmering stars. Beyond time and beyond space, the light poured down gently on our heads from above. All of us, me, you, Sarah, Tsugumi, and Kabadaki, had lost all words. We could only stare at the sky above. If I raised my hand, it seemed I could touch the sky. But not there, because it was a real night sky. In this way, the drama of our escape ended. Or at least so it seemed, but I realized nothing had been solved. The slimy sense of unease still gnawed inside of me. And that indistinct notion had changed to a simmering sense of impatience, one that was ready to boil. That's right, it isn't finished. I'm not going to let it end here. Because I don't know the reasons behind any of this. The time was 11:43 p.m. A new day was just waiting to begin. And that is as far as we are going today. Perhaps we will have all sorts of exciting answers tomorrow. There were not quite as many exciting answers today as I was expecting there to be, but that's fine. It can't be high-octane, 100% excitement all the time. And we finally got to more or less the end of, the last, or, the ending content from the original arcs. So presumably, there will be less of, rereading the ending of previous storylines with, a slight change in perspective. Right? That was not the most interesting thing in the world, was watching events that we've already watched play out with, not much in the way of new content. But presumably now that now that they've actually gotten out of the building, it'll be mostly new content from here. So that's exciting. We have something to look forward to. But as always, I've been Teo. This has been Ever17, and it's been a pleasure reading for y'all. Peace.